Hi, it's Marisha for those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do, hi again. I just thought it was time for me to finally share my testimony of what I've been going through lately. It took a lot of time for me to kind of cope with my feelings and digest what's going on and process this long journey that's ahead of me. So, in January 2018, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Endo is when, for those of you who don't know, which a lot of people don't because I was one of them who wasn't fully knowledgeable on endo, but endometriosis is when the endometrium, so the uterine lining inside your uterus, it instead of coming out when you have a period, it like goes inside your body and grows and attaches in places where it's not supposed to be, and it causes really painful periods, really heavy periods, lots of cramping when you're not even having a period, and it's just like really awful. So for some background on how I got to that point, I've always had a heavy period. I've always had all of those endo symptoms, but without even knowing I had endo, and it just was really bad. So I also have chronic migraines, which I've had since I was about 15. I was diagnosed when I was 16. So when I finally got put on birth control when I was 18, I'm 23 now. So when I finally got put on birth control when I was 18, it was not to like help my period, it was just so I could be on birth control and have that safety. But so I was put on birth control, but I had to be put on progestin only pills because my neurologist didn't want me to like possibly stroke out, because having migraines and having artificial estrogen pumped into your body through your pills would make for like a really bad combo of me possibly stroking out. So that was something that at the time was really crucial for me to know, and important for my gynecologist to make sure that I was, being safe in both spectrums. So that was something that they decided was the best for me. So thinking that I was on birth control for the first time, that probably would have helped maybe. They always say birth control helps your cramping, and people say all kinds of things about birth control, but, every woman is different, right? And I guess that's kind of the point of what I'm learning through this journey. So that was my first time on birth control, and I was on that birth control for about 4 years. So fast forward to 2017, so last year, I moved to Dallas. Well, before that happened, my periods got like way worse. They were coming way too often. Like before, they would, instead of like a normal 28-day cycle, I had like a 25-day cycle. But then fast forward 2017, my 25-day cycle turned to like 20-day cycles. So I was having about 2 periods a month for about a week and a half, which is way too long, way abnormal. But my OB at the time was like, no, it's fine, like that's normal. And I knew, like, I felt it in my spirit, like, this is not normal. Like, I talked to my friends, they're not having these problems, like, this can't be normal. And she was like, a lot of women experience this, like, everyone's body's different. Maybe your body's just now, like, reacting to your birth control. I'm like, 4 years later, no. Like, usually it happens pretty, like, instantly, within, like, a year or two, not 4 years later. So that kind of brought up some red flags, and I was tired of being, like, swept under the rug with these problems that I was having. Like, I don't want to feel this pain anymore. So, fast forward to that, to July 2017, I moved here to Dallas, and that was a great choice. I moved here for new opportunities, work, all kinds of great things, so I'm really glad I did that. Anyway, so fast forward from July 2017 to October 2017, my period kind of went out of control. I started, I would say, like the second week of October, and I had a period up until maybe the last 3 days of October. That stopped for like 3 days, and then it started again, and after it started again, I had a 3-month-long period. No breaks, no anything, like it just was non-stop. And when I tell you that it was the worst thing that could have been happening to me at the time, it truly was. It was excruciating. I was literally, I thought I was dying. That's how much blood I was losing. Like, that's not normal, and like no doctor can tell me that's normal, because I know, like, I know my body, and I know that is not normal, or at least I thought I knew my body. So yeah, that happened, and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, this is going on, like, my doctor keeps sweeping it under the rug, like, I don't know if it's my birth control, I don't know what's going on, but like, I don't feel okay. Like, I'm tired of being in pain, I'm tired of going through a box of tampons a week, which is not normal, and it's been going on for 3 months. Like, this is not okay. So I had found a new gynecologist in Dallas, since that's where I was living now, and I couldn't get an appointment until January. So December, I'm like, oh my god, January 10th, like, that's so far away. Like, what am I supposed to do until then? Like, I'm dying. Like, I'm gonna be dead by January. Someone, please. But I was like, it's better than, you know, telling me I have to wait till March or something crazy like that. So, freaking just my luck. January arrives, New Year 2018, and just my luck, like I said, my period stops. Like, all of that just abruptly stops, like the day before I go to the week before I go to the doctors. And I'm like, are you for real? Now they're gonna think I'm crazy and that I've been lying. But lucky for me, I like literally logged everything. I logged what I was eating, like maybe that was changing. And not to mention, my face had broke out like months prior to the 3-month-long hell that it was so bad. And like, for me, like, I really took care of my skin like forever, and I've never had like acne breakouts. I might have had like a pimple here and there, but never anything serious like that. So like, that was another red flag. So I'd marked changes in my skin. I had marked what I was eating, like maybe that's what it was. I literally logged everything I did, so I had proof to the doctor, like, this is what's been happening for the past 3 to 6 months, like, what is wrong with me? And so, God bless Dr. Napier, my gynecologist here in Dallas. She kind of took everything I was saying into account, and she was really listening to me, unlike my previous gynecologist had been. And she did a pelvic exam, and right off the jump, she's like, you have endometriosis. Now, me, I had one friend who I knew had endo since she was like 12, and like, I know how drastically it shaped her life, and I really felt for her, even though I didn't quite understand what she was going through. I just knew it was some big deal. So when my doctor told me that I had endo off of a pelvic exam and my logged, you know, sheets of what was happening with my body, I kind of felt confused and instantly discouraged, because if anyone who knows me knows I want to be a mom. Like, that's, if I could complete and accomplish anything in life, it would be to be a mom. Like, that's my wildest dream in the world. And for a woman, that shouldn't be, you know, something that's hard to achieve, right? So when I heard that I had endo, I was like, okay, that's the end of the road. Like, so I instantly asked, like, what does that mean for me to carry children? And Dr. Napier, being as great as she is, she was like, it's fine, we'll put you on new birth control. I'm aware of your migraines, but we'll just start with a low dose of combo birth control, progestin and estrogen, and we'll just up the dosage very cautiously. She's like, there's no reason for you to be suffering from, you know, your endo. You should never have a period like this. So let's suppress your period. Basically, let's get rid of it, so we can calm the endo down, and then I can eventually have the laparoscopy. So, but she said, I don't like to do laparoscopies until I absolutely have to. And she's like, we won't do that until it's time, when you're ready to have a baby, so we can clean it all out, get your uterus nice and pretty for you to get pregnant. And I'm like, okay, that's years down the road. I'm single as hell right now, right? So that happened, and I just felt really still discouraged, but I was very grateful to have a doctor who actually listened to me after one appointment and really like understood me and took the time to educate me. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a nosy Nancy, and so when it comes to myself, every time I'm like diagnosed with something like my asthma or my scoliosis, whatever, then like I go directly to Google and I'm like researching all these women who have endo. I'm like talking to people I didn't even know had endo, who have endo, like talking to them about their stories, and I'm like doing all this dirt, and the more I was doing that, I was finding out that a lot of women were freezing their eggs. So I'm like, okay, I'll come to Dr. Napier next appointment after we see how my new birth control goes. At that 6-month appointment, I'll come to her and say, like, maybe we should freeze my eggs. So fast forward to like 2 months, so like March, I come in because she wanted to up the dose, because the first dose wasn't high enough to suppress my period because it was that bad. So I had to up the dose, which like still was fine with my migraines and stuff. I was still doing really well. And at that appointment, I asked her, I had asked Dr. Napier, I said, so I've been doing research and I see online that a lot of women have been freezing their eggs because they have endo, not because they're correlated, but because it's kind of like a security measure. And I'm like, I know I'm young and I don't plan on having kids anytime soon, but do you think I should freeze my eggs, you know, for that extra insurance, quality insurance? And Dr. Napier was like, of course, I think that's a great idea, but like maybe in a year or two, like that'll be good, but let's check your AMH, which is your ovarian reserve. How many eggs you have at a time. Let's check your AMH, and if it's high, which it should be because I'm 23, I'm young and thriving, right? Then we'll talk about freezing your eggs further in the future. But if it's low, then like, and she was like, if it's low, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but it shouldn't be low because you're young. So yeah, so I took that blood test for the AMH, and I got my results back. And I remember getting that voicemail. I was confident that those results would be high because I'm young, right? So I read the voicemail at work, and it's Dr. Napier's nurse. And she says, hi Marisha, we got your results back from your AMH test, and you are actually at the lower end, 0.89. Which is the AMH of about a 40 to 45-year-old woman. So that was a huge, you know, low blow. Finding that out, she referred me to Dr. Laura Lawrence, who also is amazing, and that began this journey that I'm going to document here for you guys. Endometriosis affects about 11% of women, and there's no cause for it. It just kind of happens. They don't really know why. It could be genetic, it could be other environmental factors, but endo is a lot more common than I ever thought it was. And I'm kind of blessed to have endo. I see the silver lining is because I had endo, and because I was so nosy about my uterine health, that I was able to find out that, okay, maybe now is the time to freeze my eggs. If I wait, like Dr. Lawrence said, if I wait another year or two to freeze my eggs like I planned, then there probably wouldn't have been any eggs to freeze. So I hope you guys enjoy my testimony, and I will continue to share this journey with you guys. As hard as it is, and as much of a roller coaster it is, I'm trying to remain positive. You know, this is all part of God's plan, and I have a really good support system. I have great people in my corner, not just my family and friends, but my doctors are amazing. And so, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for my next video. If you guys have any questions or comments, or just want to send some love, feel free. Thank you guys for listening.